Pablo.
Hey.
This is our bonus episode number 2.
Exactly.
On our format discussion, and today we're going to talk about Dynasty Leagues.
Yes, talking about Dynasty Leagues, this is going to be, for me, because I don't know too much about this at all, it's going to be like a basic understanding, and I'm going to shoe in for any audience member who might not know too much about this.
There you go.
And yeah, absolutely. And you're going to be the expert here.
Well, I'll just talk like an expert. Hey, how about all those buttons on my head? What all those things do?
Absolutely, everybody. Make sure you check us out, like and subscribe, as well as check us out on Apple, Podbean, YouTube, Spotify, and iHeartRadio.
You got them all. So, all right, we're going to talk about Dynasty football format coming up in a minute. So, hang tight.
Alrighty. Fantasy format discussion 2. Getting into this with a brand new playlist. I'm excited to be getting into
Yeah, this is pretty cool. Now, if there was a college course on fantasy football,
okay, yeah,
this would be like I'm going to say a senior level class, a 400 class.
Oh, so it's not a 101.
No.
Gotcha. Right.
No. I would not recommend anybody who's a rookie or a freshman, if you want to call it that, keep that same nomenclature.
I see what you mean. You're saying in the world of fantasy football,
it is an advanced.
Dynasty is an advanced.
It's an advanced
study.
course.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. All right.
So Dynasty, again, I don't know when it got started. It's been a long time. I played my first Dynasty leagues back in the mid '90s. So
let's give a quick breakdown on what it is first.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Dynasty football leagues, as far as the league itself during season play, is usually the exact same as you're going to find in a traditional league.
Right.
Scoring could be very similar. All those kind of
roster. Right.
Bench players, IR players. It's all the exact same.
Trade, waiver wire. Yeah.
Everything.
Exactly.
The difference is at the end of the season, you get to keep all of the players on your roster. And this is how most Dynasty leagues are. You get to keep all the players.
No, I was going to say, you mentioned at the end of the season, but from the things that I've seen online, they mentioned there is no offseason.
Well,
so let me just throw a wrench in your story right there, right off the bat.
Okay, so as soon as your league championship is over, now that's when I consider the end of the season, all right?
Exactly.
But you're right.
Well, that's what a conventional end of the season would look like right there.
Correct.
Yeah.
Now, when you're in a Dynasty league, you're right. This is very similar to what you're doing as an NFL GM in real life. There really isn't a down offseason because you're always looking for maybe somebody who didn't get on a roster last year, who maybe got elevated for some reason on their current team, or they got traded or a free agency to a different team, and now they became the starter.
Right.
Those are possibilities. They're not as common as you're going to find out there. But what happens is you really start analyzing the upcoming rookies.
Right.
You are in tuned to the college players themselves, knowing the game tape that you've seen them on. You've actually watching the combine. You're watching those players, the quarterback drills and the running backs, and receivers, tight ends. All those players' drills are important to you because now you're invested in this team from you're right, Paul, from day 1 through day 365. It's an entire year.
This is why this is a 400 class, everybody.
Yes. So if you just blindly go in there, and I guess you could do it. I mean, if you wanted to play a Dynasty league and just blindly pick rookies or players who, again, maybe snuck on or didn't get on a roster from the previous season, you could do that. You may not be successful doing that.
Right.
The people who really know their college players and the skill set are the ones that are going to make the Dynasty League champions.
Yeah.
Okay. So when you look at this, we've seen coaches in NFL and GMs in NFL who pick a player and that player just doesn't do well, and you wasted your first overall pick. Going back many years ago, there was Demarcus, what the heck is his name? Or whatever. There's always these players.
Yeah.
The guy from the Raiders, quarterback, Demarcus, whatever, Russell,
Okay, sure.
who was the number 1 pick, and in real life, and he was terrible.
Right.
So that set that team back a long time. You can't invest in a 1 pick or even a top first round pick without making sure it's going to hit. Right.
You don't want to miss on that one. Yeah.
Same thing on a dynasty league.
Interesting. Yeah.
So
Okay.
in a dynasty league, the leagues can differ because of the roster size and whatnot, but between 15 and 20 players is what the normal dynasty
Wow.
team roster is.
That's a lot of. Oh wait, team roster, right? Okay. Not players in the league. This is the players on your team that you're managing.
Correct.
Gotcha. Right.
So when the quote unquote season end, and what I commented about, you have 15 or 20 players on your team. You get to keep them all.
Okay. Yeah.
At some point, and quite often, right around this time of the year, or probably April, about a month from now, when you start getting into the draft to get done, now you actually start picking up the draft players.
Okay. Yeah.
And you usually draft only probably 5 to 7. You don't usually go anywhere past 10 rounds. So the draft is quicker and easier.
That makes sense because we don't have scouts who are actually telling us everything that we might need to know about who we want to buy.
Yeah.
For our teams. Yeah.
So
we are our own scouts.
So you have let's just say 20 for easy math here. You got 20 people at the beginning of this. When the season's over, you keep your 20, you lock them in, you pick up, let's just say 10 more. Let's just go, the extremes. You pick 10 more players. Now you have 30. So you have 30 people on your roster. And then each league has different rules about how they govern the cut down days. But like you're going to find in the NFL, there are cut down days.
Okay.
And it may be, cut down date to 20 again. So you cut 10 players from your kept roster and your combined rookies. So your 30 pool of 30 players, you keep 20, and the other 10 are now into the free agency waiver wire pools.
Right.
So in essence, what dynasty football is a long-term investment.
Right.
In a fantasy football league. I love dynasty leagues, but one of the things that would really make it bad is if the people who are quote unquote committed to the league drop out.
Right.
If you drop out, okay, go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, well, this isn't. This is kind of jumping back into the pros and cons here.
Sure.
And I think that's what I want to lead into, right? So we've given a basic breakdown. This is the Dynasty League. You know that essentially the big change here is that when you're not playing in season, there's a lot to do. These people are not going to be the players who are falling off of the NFL news when it's an off season. You're going to be paying attention, finding out where you can get your advantages, and trying to utilize that all season long.
Yes.
So this is when we get into the pros and cons, right? So that could be considered a con, could be considered a pro, depending on where you go. But one of the difficulties there, which you're addressing right now, seems to be player investment consistency, I should say, over time.
Right. So,
or a challenge more so than a con in this situation.
Let's just say there's 10 of us, Paul. You and I and 8 of our best friends get together, and we decide to create a dynasty league. Which, by the way, we have a dynasty league that I'm subscribing to on Sleeper app right now. So
we're gonna create our own dynasty. All right,
we have an extreme fantasy football dynasty league coming.
Well, you
up.
heard it here, folks.
There you go.
Step on.
So if you want to get in a dynasty league, please let us know.
Yeah, absolutely. If you're interested in dynasty league and you're watching this video or listening to us on podcasts and you're interested legitimately, check us out because we're interested as well and we're going to be getting into it.
Absolutely, but there's a little caveat. Unlike a redraft league where people kind of come and go more regularly, you don't want to have that happen. You want to have your guys committed to playing. I always recommend 5 years.
Okay.
And the reason why it's 5 years is, I guess if there was a con in my eyes to playing a dynasty league, is if I got a team that was orphaned. So and-so previously had a team and they get out, and then I jump into that team, and if my team sucks, right?
Mhm.
I may get the first overall pick, and hopefully I know my rookies because the draft is purely rookies.
Right.
Not purely, mostly rookies. So
That's
you
where the
really need
value is coming into
you
it for
really need to
sure.
know your value. Otherwise, you're screwed. If you don't hit quickly on a bad team in Dynasty, you're going to be a bad team in Dynasty for a couple more years,
Right. Right.
which could really suck.
Mhm.
It really makes the season long. Like, oh my, I can't get past these quarterbacks because everybody has the Jacksons and the Golfs and the Allens, Mahomes. All the
Right.
big players are already taken. I'm stuck here with Aiden O'Connell and Gardner Minshew.
Yeah, it makes it hard for you to want to pick up your to even like go to your website and pull up
It is.
your team
It,
rosters.
it
Right.
is a thing. It is a thing. So that's my but the problem is that people, well, then I don't want to do it. I'm going to bail on it. Well, you can't. Please, please, please don't bail on it.
Right.
Give it time. If you know your stuff, again, I'm talking about a 400 level college course here. If you know your stuff in fantasy football, taking the challenge of taking a team that may not be very good and elevating it to a championship level is like rewarding above a lot in life. Well, maybe not in life, but
He has a son, and he's saying this. No.
in the fantasy world life, it is like, man, I did that.
Right. Right.
On the other side, if you have a strong team, being able to find those rookies that may be strong in the third or fourth, fifth round, because you're not going to get the top-notch rookies. You got to dig a little deeper. It's going to require more research. If you can maintain being that level, man, that's again equally as high as raising a team from the sellers.
Yeah. I was talking, or I was reading something, and it was talking about specifically Dynasty format with the pros, and they were saying that one of the things that they like about it is that you find that you're not just trying to beat the person who won last season, but that you're also trying to beat them in how many points they received per game. Beat the points per game average and
Okay.
stuff. You're trying to beat the team that had previously reigned supreme for multiple seasons in a row. You're trying to essentially overcome legacies as opposed to just win a season.
Right.
And all of a sudden, it just becomes a lot more. I want to say high stakes, but it's more so just harder fought, harder earned rewards and goals.
Yeah, it is. It's a challenge that's, again, if you're up for it, by all means, do it. Do the league. You'll be rewarded by having fun. And I definitely would, like I said, I wouldn't get people who are rookies. So it's not fair for me to put together a league, a dynasty league, and have everybody who's a freshman, quote unquote, again in this college, whatever we're talking about here,
Sure.
because it probably wouldn't be fair for all of them. But you want to
Right.
find people who are equally as fantasy football knowledgeable as you are, who can actually jump in there and do it together, because it is rewarding beyond belief.
Oh, yeah.
So again, there isn't any downtime, but let's talk briefly about the initial draft.
Sure, right. I think this is definitely one of the strong suits here that are almost, I want to say uniquely them, but it's not that you don't draft your team in other places, but it's that the draft here matters so much more for longevity's sake and the eye for a vision of what you're doing for your team.
Right.
Intentions.
So the initial draft can be done, I've heard it done different ways, so each league can pick how they want to do it. I've heard it done from an auction drafting format where you have X number of dollars.
Oh, okay.
And then there's players who actually get auctioned off, and you can go ahead and do that.
And then you bid on them.
You bid on them.
That's
Yep.
cool. I like that.
Whether it's a silent bid or an actual auction bid, however you want to do it. That's a kind of cool way of doing it, because then everybody has the equal opportunity. It's not just I got my number drawn out of a hat. Hey, on the first overall pick, I'm going to go ahead and pick Josh Allen.
Right.
So whatever, that's the kind of thing is kind of a luck thing. So the auction has a little more of a skill. Do I want to invest my money in a certain position or a certain player?
Right.
And you can kind of go that way. Now, so you do your player, do your draft like you normally would, and like I said, the in-season game is very similar to a traditional league, based on whatever league scoring they want to do, touchdowns only, PPR, half PPR, whatever it is, the league is going to create that. That's in season.
Okay.
Now, each league also has the ability to fine tune the rules about what can be traded in the future. This is
Interesting.
oh,
like how you could trade potential draft spots or something.
Exactly.
Right.
So imagine whatever your trade deadline is in your league. Could be week 10.
Mm-hmm.
If by week 9 I don't have a very good team and I know my team is not very good, like you're going to find in the NFL, hey, I could say, all right, Pablo, I have McCaffrey. You need a running back. I got McCaffrey. I'm going to trade him. And now give me your first overall pick next year. Or the first 2 for your next 2 years. Or give me a third or give me a fourth. Whatever it is, you can get as creative as you want, which again adds a whole nother level to the strategy of the offseason.
Yeah.
Right? So, what's a McCaffrey or what's a Jahmyr Gibbs, worth to you? Here you got a young stud, or Bijan Robinson, a young stud running back who's going to be around hopefully for, a few more years. Is it worth a first round pick for you? Well,
Right.
if I have Gibbs, but I'm not doing very well, I might, hey, can we swap here? Leagues typically go no more than 3 years in the future of draft picks, which is, again,
Oh, wow. That's kind of far still.
it does, yeah. So there's watching things right now. There are 2027 draft picks are being traded.
Wow.
So I'm not opposed to that as long as all the parties stay involved in the league.
Right, because that's challenged when you get to, like, for instance, something that I want to talk about here shortly is orphan teams.
Yeah.
And yeah, when you're buying an orphan team and you find out that you've given away a trade, not even for this year, but also next year or something, that becomes something that's like, ooh, okay, now this is a weird spot to be in all of a sudden.
Yeah. So it's so again regarding orphans, it's fun because you can get into an established league.
Right. Well, so this is something that I actually wanted to jump into a little bit.
Go ahead.
So for orphan teams, one of the things that I think is cool about this and exciting from somebody who doesn't know much about it from the outside,
Right.
is that when you're buying an orphan team, they give you your lineup. They give you, I guess, more so your assets that your team has.
Yep.
And this includes whatever draft positions that you're going to be getting for the season.
Yep.
And it's really exciting to look at that, because it's way more. If you're looking at, for example, a standard league, and I get into a standard league and somebody drops out maybe 5 weeks in or something, and I pick up for the rest of the time using their team, you're going to be picking whatever players they got, and that's kind of what you're stuck with, and there's not a lot of maneuverability there, right?
Right.
Is ultimately what I'm working on there. Where in a Dynasty league, when you're looking at it, there's so many options, and you can just see the diversity of each lineup when you're looking at it, and it's exciting to think of it and be like, oh, okay, I can go in this direction. I got these many picks. Oh, okay, this person must have done these sorts of moves before they left the league.
Right.
And sometimes it puts you in bad spots. So, like, make sure that you're paying attention to your orphan leagues that you're going to be joining, and being smart about what you're trying to do and what you're joining into if you are going to join into an orphan league. But I will say, like, it's exciting just to look at them and do some sort of like mental mapping out of what you would want to do in those situations even.
Yeah. So all right, let's take a little bit of a scenario here, Paul.
Mhm.
All right, I want to bail on my league.
Yep.
Let's just say I play for a long time and things happen. I'm just going to bail on my league, right?
Mhm.
So you have a chance to become my orphan owner. You pick up my orphan team, right?
Okay.
And you know that your team needs a quarterback.
Yeah.
All right. And you might even have 1-1 pick or a 1-2 pick, whatever it is, right? You got the top 1 or 2 picks in the draft.
Mhm.
You need a quarterback.
Right.
You're looking at the available quarterbacks that are either not on a kept team
Yeah.
or coming out of the draft.
Right. Right.
And you're like, crap, I got Aiden O'Connell and I got, Gardner Minshew, and now I get a chance to pick up a Cam Ward or a Shadur Sanders or Jackson Dart.
Jackson Dart. Right. Right.
Like, oh, man. Okay. I mean,
Yeah. Puts you in a tough spot this season.
it does.
Yeah.
So if you're going to take over an orphan team, really, really be careful about your team, who you have,
Mhm.
and then how confident you have in your ability to draft players who aren't going to miss.
Right.
Now, a Cam Ward, if you have a 1-1 pick, and you could pick Ashton Genty.
I was gonna say, so the issue, being a 1-1 pick's awesome, and even in a situation if you know you have to restructure your offense or in your quarterback position specifically, it's gonna be hard pressed to put that 1-1 spot on that quarterback because there's a lot of better potential out there right now, I think, than Cam Ward for your first pick.
Right. So on the negative side, you probably won't have a whole lot to draft from, but you have trade bait.
Okay.
And
Yep.
if you like trading, man, dynasty leagues are fantastic because you can get so creative. So if I have the 1-1 pick and if I know I need a quarterback, and let's say I'm strong running back and I don't have any other really major weaknesses, I guess, whatever, I'm kind of middle of the road, but whatever,
Right.
I got the 1-1 pick. I can sit here and say, all right, it's available. Who wants the 1-1 pick?
Mm-hmm.
And I can get offers from other people and who they may have. Hey, I need a quarterback who's a 1-1 pick. Give me somebody.
Right.
And then maybe someone offers you a Josh Allen or a Jared Goff
Right.
or some of that that level. So now you have the ability to use your draft status or your draft capital to actually maybe upgrade your team.
Right. So in that situation, you're trading a Cam Ward essentially for or a draft spot that would be, I want to say, like inappropriately used for Cam Ward.
Right.
You're trading that for a quarterback that could be established on a team already.
Right. And so when you start adding all of these levels that you can get, like the proverbial onion, or all of these levels
Sure. Right.
of what a dynasty league is,
Layers.
yeah. Although then and you realize that dynasty league could easily be called the penultimate or ultimate challenge.
Mm-hmm.
I
like that.
I might say the exchange we have is maybe more of a challenge, but whatever. Let's just say that the dynasty is the ultimate challenge in the fantasy football world.
Right.
Okay. Now, there are leagues out there that are called Empire Dynasty leagues.
So I was gonna say something that I would like to talk about in a future format discussion.
Yeah.
Are Empire leagues. But just briefly, we can jump into this a little bit as well because this is very interesting.
So the Empire League is a nice little way to end the season or end the league.
Right.
If it gets a little static or a little stale, and you get people, okay, one person is winning regularly, and these guys are losing regularly, and they just don't know it. Well, there is a way to end the league.
Mm-hmm.
And the end the league is quite often done through the Empire League, or the league just says, hey, after 8 years, we're going to be done.
Right.
That might be a way too, is kind of put it in a sunset mode. But when you get into an Empire League, it's if the same team wins twice two times in a row. 2 years in a row.
Right.
If they have back-to-back champions, then that's automatic stopping of the league, and then you start from scratch and redo it again.
So right, this is okay. Yeah, just to kind of re-wrap that up here.
Right.
Essentially, an Empire League means that when you do your season, at the end of that season, the Empire League isn't over. Let's say you started it that year, you have to win 2 times in a row for that season to be over. So if
That league will be over. The league.
For that league, yeah.
Correct.
So let's say that I win the first year, and then Todd wins the second year, and then I win the third year, and then I win the fourth year. That league would have lasted 4 years.
Correct.
Before that sort of thing ended. And the interesting thing about the Empire Leagues means that the prize at the end of that is a growing prize based on the amount of years that takes. So
Yeah.
It makes the reward higher and higher for those who are able to eventually win, which, just to kind of bring it back to your initial point, gets the excitement going beyond the end of the season,
Right. Now, each league can handle the financial aspect of it however they want to do it.
Mm-hmm.
In the example of the FFPC leagues out there, then there is half of the prize money or half of the entry fee money goes to the jackpot
Okay.
thing, right? We're
Yeah.
way off topic here a little bit, but
Well, no, it's still, it makes sense though for when the season is actually ending.
right.
The league.
But not every league has to do that.
Mm-hmm.
So you could have your own Empire League and not do that, where the year's entry fee is given to the top 2, top 3, top 1, whatever the league wants to do.
Right.
And all the money gets dispersed that way. So the growing jackpot is one thing that the FFPC leagues are actually doing. It's just an optional way of doing the payments.
Right. I think this does show like a much more definitive victor in this sort of a league format,
Right.
which is why the Empire, right? It takes a lot to win the Empire.
Yeah. To if you're playing against people who are knowledgeable enough, to win 2 years in a row,
Oh my God,
it's tough.
Yeah, I could believe that.
It's tough.
Yeah.
And it keeps the league fresh though, because in case someone does win twice in a row, then okay, all right, let's just reset, let's just do it again.
Kick him out of the league. We don't need him. He's cheating.
So, but again, when you're getting to the dynasty, like I said, in all aspects, it's not I played traditional 1 year, and I'm going to play dynasty next.
Yeah.
If you want to do a step, and we will get in this discussion later on also in a different topic, but take a step to a keeper league also. And a keeper league is just a minor version of a dynasty. So same kind of things. You might have only 1 or 2 players you get to keep, not the whole roster.
And I think keeper league is a really good way to get your toes wet for a dynasty league. Yeah, I think that's kind of the sweet spot that it's been in for fantasy recently.
Yeah. So finding the dynasty league out there that, if you're going to have an orphan team, again, be aware of your roster, be aware of your pick, and then how confident you are about being able to replace the players or upgrade the players you need.
Right, and stay creative when it comes to trying to get that advantage, whether it's from trading roster spots or trading draft picks or whatever it is. Yeah.
Get those draft picks are, in my eyes, I like draft picks because I feel like if I can build my team from the draft picks, then I'm, if I walk into this next draft coming up here and I need a running back. I got Ashton Genty. Hey, I need a tight end. I got Tyler Warren. If I can go out there and I can get a couple of the top players,
right,
then I know, hey, I'm building this thing. And like I said, the reward at the end of being able to, man, I did that. I took this team from crap to where it's at. I like that a lot.
Right. I mean, well, let's say I know we're wrapping up here, but let's say that we get a 2 hot players a year that are in the rookies, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's say you get 2 hot players a year. By 4 years in, you're going to have almost half of your potential team that are solid foundation for growth. And that has nothing to do with any sort of trades that you can make during the season to try to bolster that. It has nothing to do with any sort of free agent and, waiver wire sort of pickups you're able to snag in there. Like, this is all just, I want to say, extra value that you get for smart picks kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, let me really throw a little bugaboo in here, okay, before we leave out.
Sure.
Imagine, Paul, I'm going to start a Superflex IDP Dynasty Empire League.
Wow. Yeah, that is a bugaboo right there. Okay.
That's a master class, right?
Right.
And is it a Superflex or just a flex, or whatever it may be, but IDP, and just you can get as creative as you want.
Right.
And that's just not just in Dynasty, but everything. But Dynasty is, again, I think that's one of the most challenging and probably one of the most fun leagues out there.
Definitely high up on that mountain of rewardingness.
Way out there.
Yeah.
Way out there. So
that's awesome. Yeah, a little Dynasty League
if anybody out there wants any other kind of advice regarding Dynasty leagues or any format, hit us up. Let me know.
Yep.
You can find us on all those things above my head. So go ahead and
we got our social medias.
tell us how to do this, Paul.
Yep. So check out our social medias on Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. You can also check out our podcast on YouTube as well, which has a video, or you can check us out on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Podbean, and Amazon Music.
There you go.
Yeah, make sure you guys check us out.
Well, speaking of music, go ahead and get the outro music, and we'll say our goodbyes. And as always, it's an honor to be here with that guy right there.
Hey, happy
Paul
to be here as well.
Bailey.
Always a blast.
Awesome. And enjoy the nice weather. And as I always say, when life gives you a chance, make it happen. Peace.